Hey YouTube, what's happening? 7/10/2011, Sunday. I want to do a video today and I want to talk about America. I want to take a minute and talk about the United States and what is going on in this country. Because there is definitely a shift in consciousness, there's a shift in the hearts and minds of Americans, and there's a shift in the context of people's souls that live in America. And before I get started, I want to talk about where America is. Where is America? What's the cross-section of Americans right now? What is really going on in their minds? What's going on in their hearts? What's going on in their souls right now? And comparatively, from the 1950s, from the pinnacle of America, okay, till now, if you want to make a comparison between those two groups of people, how would you characterize the group today? Okay? And you know what you would characterize them as? Very simply, very bluntly, mind-controlled, hypnotized, brain dead. They are. They are. It's exactly what they are. Now, before you jump to any conclusions, there's a good side to being this way, and there's a bad side to being this way. And I'm going to explain. Also, I'm going to say I'm not talking about every American. Obviously, there's brilliant people in this country. Obviously, there's people that are conscious, controlled, thinking individuals. Obviously, I'm talking about the cross-section. All right? The average Joe. And that's what I'm referring to. And one thing you'll notice when you travel internationally is that you recognize very quickly that the food in America is deplorable. You recognize very, very quickly that the food is rancid, it's toxic, and it is specifically designed to rot your brain. And that's what it has done. I mean, I've been in the middle of Mexico. Middle of frickin' Mexico. Nothing around except a railroad track and a little town. And I've had excellent food. Yeah, I know about the dog tacos and Tijuana and all this stuff, but even those dog tacos, let me tell you, are not laden with chemicals. There's no aspartame in it. There's no fluoride in it. There's nothing that's been hugely and enormously processed so it becomes actually toxic to the body. All right? And this is really at the heart of what's going on in America. The food has made Americans retarded. It really has. Again, I'm going to say this. It's good and it's bad at the same time. Okay? Americans and their mental status right now. It is a good thing and it is a bad thing at the same time. This is why. Obviously, the Illuminati is behind all the additives in the food, all the Pop-Tarts that are on the shelves, all the frickin' Cocoa Puffs and the Captain Crunch and the microwaves and the, you know, flour that's been totally disintegrated before it's actually made into bread. The radiation that 9/10 of your food is being administered with by the time it gets to the store shelves, all of that has been engineered. All of that has been made to make people dumb, make people's brains Swiss cheese. It's what it is. Now, there's a negative side to that, and the negative side to that is that you can only dumb down people so much. Yes, they're easier to manipulate. Yes, they're easier to move when their, minds are scrambled. But that only goes so far. You can only dumb them down so much before they just turn into nothing. And they don't listen to you. And that's what's happening right now. Americans are not listening to the status quo. They're not listening to Obama. They're not listening to frickin' Hillary Clinton. They're not listening to Pelosi. They're not listening to Dodd, Reid, Frank, all these other idiots that are up there. They're not listening to the corporations. They're not listening to anybody that's trying to influence them. They're just saying, I'm going to ignore you. I'm going to ignore you. And that's the paradigm shift. That's the shift in consciousness that I'm talking about. In the old days, it used to be a fight or flight mechanism to human beings. Fight or flight, fight or flight. Now, it's fight or flight or ignore. I'm just going to ignore you. And that episode on South Park, Cartman's Rundown, yeah, whatever, man. Whatever, man. Yeah, that's what people are doing. I don't mean to downplay it with a cartoon figure, but what I'm saying is it's that simple. It's that fucking simple. Yeah, whatever, man. Yeah, fuck you. Screw you. I'm just going to ignore you. Ignore you. And I'm going to do my own thing. And I've got to say, whether Americans are brain dead, whether they're fully conscious and awake, whatever, this is a great thing. If more Americans got on the parameter of, I'm going to ignore you, for whatever reason, whether they're brain dead, whether they're highly intuitive, whether they're unconscious and they're just doing it because, whether they're defiant, whether they're revolting, whether whatever, it doesn't matter, but it is happening. And you're going to see a lot more of this take place in America. People are just going to say, I ignore you. And if we don't pay attention to the Illuminati and the status quo and the corporations, you know what happens? They crumble. They crumble like a sand castle in the waves. Yeah, that's what's happening. And that's why it's so important right now to realize that this is reaching critical mass. And that's a term that is used before it becomes a trend. It has to hit critical mass, which in layman's terms, it's just, there's a lot of people that are going to start doing this. There's a lot of people that are already doing this. I mean, and you can tell that this is happening by paying attention to the news media. What's happening in the media right now? What stories are going on in the media? What about this darn Casey Anthony thing? How many times have you guys heard that on the news? How many times do they just want to keep pounding that into your head over and over and over and over and over and over and over? I mean, you can go to any courthouse in any city all over this country, in the United States, and see exactly the same trial over and over and over and over and over again. Why is this one so important? Why do they keep wanting to push it in your head? Because they want to control your thinking. They want you to say to yourself, oh, I want to view what they want me to view. And you can tell they're getting desperate because people are saying, yeah, whatever. Fuck you. I don't want to listen. I ignore you. I don't want to be in your box. I don't want to be in your psychological prison that you're trying to put me in. I don't want to be there. You can tell in the media. Look at all the stuff they're trying to force feed you right now. What is this nonsense the other day? What is it? Betty Ford died? Betty Ford died. Oh, great. Okay. Another Luciferian. You know what? Whatever. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I ignore you. I take your power away from me. I'm not going to play your game. Another thing that happened. What about the royal couple? Oh, the royal couple is in Southern California. I could give a rat's ass. I could care less. I don't care. I ignore you. And I take your power away from you. Because ultimately, the Illuminati has no power. We give them power. And if a mass movement starts where people ignore them, it's over. So again, it's a beautiful thing that this is happening. And they know it. They know that their media numbers are down. What is it? Glenn Beck is leaving Fox because his numbers are so in the gutter? They know. They know. They know. So what I'm saying here today, guys, is that you probably will see people in your lives that are going to come up to you with a different attitude. Now, I'm not saying everybody's going to see this. Some people might notice it a little bit. Some people might notice it a lot. But it is a paradigm shift. And it will become a trend in this country where people just say, I ignore you. I ignore you. And that could take the form of many different applications. I mean, you could say, hey, screw you, grocery store. I'm not going to buy any of your products anymore. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to grow my own food. I ignore you. Hey, Walmart. Hey, Target. Hey, frickin' Sears Supercenter. I don't need your clothes. You know what? I'm going to go to the thrift store. I ignore you. I know a seamstress, a girl that I know right now. Right now. She's got a couple of sewing machines in her garage. She's making pants and shorts, and she's just selling them out of her garage. That's the perfect definition of ignore. I ignore your corporatism, and I'm going to do my own thing. Yeah, whatever, man. It's what it is. All right, guys. Thanks again for your time. Thanks.